Howdy, folks. You are tuned into BIONICOMM, a Bionicle community podcast brought to you by yours truly, that'd be Cub. This is episode 1, and it was recorded on August the 12th, 2014. Gathered friends, listen and get into our legend of the BIONICOMM. Come. Howdy, folks. How are y'all doing? Cub here. Welcome to the first episode of something I hope will be fun. Not just for me, but for everyone watching and listening. And that would be you guys. So welcome to BIONICOMM. It's the Bionicle community podcast. I know it's a very clever name. I basically took Bionicle and community, chopped them up a little bit with my knife, and then shoved them together with some duct tape. Because, yeah, here in Texas we have a thing for duct tape. There's even a saying about it, but I won't bore you with that. Basically, this is the Bionicle Community Podcast. This is episode 1, and before we get started with anything, I just kind of want to explain who I am and why I'm doing this, and basically just bore you guys with information you probably don't care about. You're here to hear about Bionicle. I know. We'll get to that. But first off, my name is Cub. My real life name is Reese. Cub is the online alias I took up back when I started making YouTube videos over on my gaming channel, Cub Games. And I've made over 800 videos there now. I don't remember the exact number, but I have about 8,000 subs, and I have a lot of fun over there almost every day, playing mostly Minecraft. I do a lot of Minecraft videos, but I also do other games. I've done Psychonauts, I've done Assassin's Creed, I'm doing Watch Dogs right now, and I've played a lot of games. I have a lot of fun over there. And this is my second channel. This is Cub's Place, which I created to just do kind of random things, you know? I upload vlogs and just little bits of my life. I upload kind of tech videos. And the other day, I uploaded a video talking about Bionicle because on a whim, I was waiting for something to render out, and I just Googled my standard stuff, iPhone 6, 2015 Mustang, and then just, you know, I was like, hey, I'll see what's up in the Bionicle community because it's been a while since I checked in. So I Googled it, and lo and behold, rumors. The rumor mill is out of control. The hype train is flying down the tracks at ludicrous speed. Bionicle is returning. There's no official announcement from LEGO, but I went ahead, I looked into everything, and based on what I've seen, I fully believe Bionicle is coming back. And that kind of led me to make a video talking about it and just kind of engage the community and see what was up. And it actually got a really positive response. I was like, well, you know what? If people are going to watch those videos, maybe they'll watch a podcast because I've always wanted to do a podcast, and I really like Bionicle. I've been a fan since 2003. I actually got my first Bionicle set in a Happy Meal in 2001. If you count Mataro, the little Matoran, as a Bionicle set. The first real set I got was for my birthday in 2002, late 2002, and from there I was pretty much hooked in 2003 for darn sure. I bought my first set. The first set I ever bought was Onua, and I got him at a KB toy outlet. I don't know if any of you kids out there will even remember that. I know some of the older fans will. It was an amazing place where after no one else wanted the Bionicle sets, they went to KB Toy Outlet, and you could buy like 30 of them for $1. That's an exaggeration. I think I got a brand new sealed Onua for like $5, which is just like, whoa, nowadays. But it was the original Toamata. I thought it was the coolest thing ever, and I was hooked with the line ever since, and kind of got out of it a little bit toward the end there. I still loved the sets. I still loved the story, but as you can imagine, second year in high school, I wasn't really playing with the sets a whole lot. I really liked to just build them, and I really loved the storyline, and I was really sad to see it go. But I'm really happy to hear that's coming back, and yeah, so the reasons for this podcast are, first off, I wanted to do something that I don't think a lot of people have been doing. There's plenty of sources out there. There's a lot of other Bionicle mediums that are out there. The Three Virtues podcast is a great podcast that I listen to by some really great folks. And I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something where, you know, we do the basics. I talk, you listen. I give you my thoughts. I give you the news. But I also wanted to get a lot of user feedback. That's why it's a community podcast. I wanted you guys to submit stuff that I would later talk about, and we just have discussions, and it'd be cool. I think there's a lot of community missing within the Bionicle community, if that makes sense. You know, for a long time, there was just basically one source, and that was BZ Power, of which I've been a member since 2006. I've read a bunch of stuff before that, like I was always on there, but I became a member in 2006, and I think to date I've made maybe 99 posts. I haven't been that engaged putting stuff into the community, but I've definitely done a lot of reading over there, and I've spent a long time just reading articles and posts and stuff. I never got that engaged because as a younger kid, I was always really nervous that some crazy moderator was going to just assault me for spam, which did happen quite a few times. And looking back on it, was probably deserved. I was a kid. I didn't know what I was doing. That has obviously changed, and I'm happy to be here. Yeah, so I also think there's... How do I put this? I don't want to get into anything too deep. We're only 6 minutes into the show here. But I believe that there's a problem within the Bionicle community. I said there wasn't a lot of community within the community. What I mean is, it seems like anytime a new source of community engagement opens up within the Bionicle community, sides form. And you're either with the source or you're against it. You can't be with both. You hate one, you hate the other, you love one, it's just this horrible... And I don't understand it. I can't really explain it, and I don't understand it. I've been really heavy into the Minecraft community. Obviously, I make a lot of Minecraft videos, and it seems like anytime a new Minecraft website opens, it's embraced by the entire community as a whole. And everyone generally gets along. There's a few, you know, little piffs here and there. But for the most part, it's a really great community. Everyone helps each other out, and everyone has a good time. You don't really have that in Bionicle, though. In Bionicle, you have... This is the website I get my sources from, or this is the podcast I listen to, and war! And I've never liked that, and I've never understood why we've had it. So hopefully we can combat that here. We can all just get along, no matter if you're a big BZP fan, or a big TTV fan, or if you use Eurobricks exclusively, or if you just hang out on the LEGO message boards for whatever reason. You are all welcome here, and I hope we can all get along. So... I haven't really finalized the format of this show, but now that I have wasted a good 7 minutes of your time, I know it. It just seemed to fly by with my melodic voice and my entertaining personality. But now that I've burnt through all of that, I think it's time for us to actually get down to the meat of the show. Now, I haven't finalized the format. I don't know what order things are going to be coming in. I would like to have like a news section, and then a community talk back, and then like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Your input is always welcome. If you're watching this on YouTube, there'll be links down below on how to contact me. Please do. If you're listening to it on iTunes, first off, what? I figured out how to get it on iTunes? Fantastic. That's a miracle. And I don't really know what to tell you, except for look me up on YouTube. Yeah, so we'll work on the show as we go. Maybe a few episodes in, we'll have a better format, assuming people actually watch this. But for right now, let's just talk about the possible return of Bionicle. I think that's going to be the main subject of the day. I've actually written down some points here. I've got 8 of them that I want to talk through. 8 points. And at the rate we're going, it's going to take like 30 minutes to get through each of them. Not really. And these are just kind of the reasons why I believe Bionicle is coming back. Maybe I have some doubters out there. I want to quell the doubts within you. A lot of this stuff is all circumstantial and happenstance and circumstance and any other kinds of stances you can think of. And a lot of people are like, it just happens to happen. But when you have all of these things happening together, it seems too impossible that it would just be coincidence. All right, so first off, let's go with what got me into the whole hype train. Well, it got me to the station. I didn't get on the hype train with this. It took me a while. The hype train was actually moving before I caught up to it. But the first thing that we have to talk about is the leaked pictures. So, all right, so the very first thing I saw when I Googled Bionicle's return, which is exactly what I Googled, it's been about 2 or 3 weeks now since I did that. I got this black and white image of what looks like a display case, cardboard display case. You've seen it before for every other thing in the world, every other toy set. Black and white, looks really good, but doesn't quite sell you on it. Now, if you're watching these on YouTube, links in the description. If you're watching on YouTube or on, listening to it on iTunes, not really a whole lot I can do for you. Basically, if you just Google Bionicle 2015, though, you should get these. So the very first one, and I'm not walking you in the order that they were released. I'm walking you through them in the order that I originally found them, so you can kind of just kind of follow along with me on my journey, discovery, trip, whatever. So, the very first one you get is black and white. There's a figure reaching for a mask. There is a spider in the background. There's some eyes in the top right corner. And then there's a few sets displayed down below with the words Bionicle and Lego on the side. And at the very, and you're looking at this, you can clearly tell that this is a picture on a piece of paper, and someone took a picture of this piece of paper with their cell phone. And it looks like an order guide, because if you look at the bottom of the image, there's some word that says wobbler. Don't know what that means. 2 in a set, so I guess if you buy a wobbler, you get 2 wobblers. Maybe that's a translation of something. Here's the weird part. Wobbler, if that is in another language, well, there you go. But then the rest of it's in English. Kind of strange. But so you got Wobbler, you get 2 of them in a set, and it says order separately. So what I'm guessing is, and this is, again, no way confirmed, LEGO has not made any announcements as of the time of this recording. But what I'm guessing is this is a display case, and it's in an order guide, and you can go ahead and order your Bionicle sets for the winter season. And you have the option of ordering this Wobbler here to display them in. Now, as convincing as this is, and I gotta admit, it does look really good, I wasn't completely sold. I'm like, well, some skilled person in Photoshop or what have you could probably make this. So then I went on to the second image that I found floating around the internet, which is actually it's a picture of a list of set names, right? And this, again, is not at all convincing in and of itself. It's kind of like, oh, I see. Someone saw this box and they picked up, you know, they hopped on the troll train, because at first I thought it was just a major troll train, right? And they decided to give us these. So we've got, first off, the first 5 sets, we got a Defender sets. Not sure what that means, but it's Defender of Jungle, Defender of Stones, Defender of Water, Defender of Land, Defender of Ice, Defender of Fire. You notice there's no Defender of Air. I guess that's been replaced with Jungle, and it's a little odd, a little off. But then you have a few other names. You have a Master of Jungle, a Master Stone, Master of Water, Master of Fire, Master of Ice, Master of Land. So the same elements, except for these are not defenders. These are the masters. They've conquered it, and then they've got names next to them. Now, this is supposedly leaked from Russia, so some of the names don't match up to what you might be used to. But in this guide, they have Leva, Pohatu, Gali, Tahu, Kopak, and Onua. So we got a couple of ones that are off there. Leva instead of Liwa, or Lewa, whatever you want to call them. I've heard them called so many different odd things. I'm pretty sure it's just Liwa, though. And then you got Kopak, which I'm guessing, again, is Russian Kopaka? Yeah, I am Russian Kopak. That's a horrible Russian accent. Ignore that. Disregard it. Pretend it never happened. Was actually about to try again. I'm not going to do that. And then the last set on there is Lord of Skull Spiders, which is obviously the spider at the top of the crappy-looking black and white image. And looking at this, I was just like, okay, someone saw this, and they decided to go troll hardcore on us. All right, but then I got to the third image. This is the one that sold it for me, right? It's basically the first image, although you can tell it's a different Wobbler, I guess. It's another cardboard display cabinet. This one's a little bit bigger, a little bit wider, a little bit more fleshed out, and it is in full stinking color. And I don't know if the color actually smells bad. Stinking, that was just a term to... It's in really nice color, or it's in really nice detail. If someone had photoshopped this, they had gone to an extreme amount of work. And you can clearly see all the different sets. Up in the top, you have what is very clearly Tahu wearing his original Mata How, I believe is how you say his mask. It's been updated. You can tell it's not the exact like replica. It's been updated for the year 2015. I don't think children... Well, I know I would, but we'll disregard that. We got him. He's reaching for a golden mask. No one knows what it is. Well, a lot of people are speculating that it is the Mask of Creation. I don't know why that would be there. I don't know what's going on in this picture. All I know is Tahu, he's reaching for it. There's, again, the Lord of Skull Spiders. There's the eyes up again in the top right-hand corner. And then there's the sets. There's the Defender sets, and there's the larger sets. And there's so much going on in this picture. Now, first off, if you found the picture, before you look at anything, you're probably looking at it and thinking, wow, those aren't boxes in the display shelf. Those are just flat images. This is so photoshopped. Well, how correct you are. They are extremely photoshopped, but that's actually how you do it. When you are creating promotional items, these are probably not in production yet, these shelves. This is a sort of a mock-up of what the set will look like. What they do is they build the box set in the computer, they throw the art on it, and then they just take the front of the boxes, sort of the box art that's going to be on the sets, and they just drop those in there to kind of give you an idea of where things are going to go and how it's going to look when it is finished, actually produced, and mailed to your Lego store or, you know, wherever you might be ordering Legos from. So that's normal. There's nothing weird about that. If you look at the sets, though, this is where I kind of started backing off of the troll train. I was like, wait a second, where's the hype train? I want to be close to it in case I change my mind on this, because these sets are, oh man, they're clearly sets, right? These aren't just someone threw these together in Photoshop. They were clearly well constructed. You can tell the effort went into making these look good. They're not like leaks we've seen in the past, right? Where some kid threw together an Omega Tahu and was like, hey, look, guys. No, this is... I don't really know how to explain it to you. You have to look at the sets yourselves. And first off, some confirmation. First off, that the list of names from Russia, from Mother Russia, very, very much confirmed. We can clearly see that the being at the top is Tahu. If you look at the green Master of the Jungle set, it so clearly says Liwa. It's unbelievable. And if you look at the pictures, there's actually something interesting here. Let me find it. So, I mean, first off, you look at it, you can tell these weren't photoshopped. These have to be real. It's using real pieces. They're put together very well. If someone photoshopped this, it would have taken them a very long time. I don't think that anyone would have gone through this much effort to troll somebody else. Well, that aside, one more thing. Here it is. So this is Toa Chronix posted this on my last video about Bionicle, or the video before last, drawing some attention to something I hadn't even noticed yet. All right, so Toa Chronix says, another thing, the Defenders have a new blaster piece similar to the Kordak blaster, which can also be seen in the new Wookiee gunship, which was revealed after the Bionicle picture was leaked. So if the Bionicle pictures are fake, the faker would have to have seen the set before it was even released, which isn't really possible. That's a really good point. So if you're looking at these pictures, look closely at the Defender sets. You can tell that some of them, actually I think all of them, are wielding some sort of a launcher, projectile, weapon. I'm not really sure what it is, but if you look at that and then look over at the new Wookiee gunship set coming out, it's the same piece. This was just revealed from LEGO. These were actually released, I believe, at Comic-Con, so after these leaks took place. So if this is something that some troll put together, he would have to be a troll working inside of LEGO in order to know that these things even existed. That is major. That is, I jumped on the hype train at that point. The hype train was already moving. I had to run to catch up to it. It was like in that movie, The Polar Express, where the kid decides, oh wait, no, never mind, I do want to get on. And he has to like run after it. But I was actually the poor kid in the really tall boots, and he tripped. Luckily, someone on the hype train pulled the brakes, and it didn't stop it. It just slowed it down, and I had time to get on. But then the brakes failed, and the hype train has been rolling at increasing speeds ever since. Sorry guys, I broke the train. Maybe we can get a second hype train rolling for some of you guys. But that is something right there. All right, I make of that what you will. But unless the guy is trolling us from within LEGO, there's no way he would have known that that piece even existed. So there you go. Now, I've heard a lot of people speculating, well, hold on, maybe this is just something LEGO considered doing. Maybe this is something they kind of threw together and they were discussing it and it's not finalized. Let me stop you right there. All right, I know what it looks like when a company starts like a trial of a device. They start making mock-ups and stuff. This is way beyond that. We have beautiful artwork. We have clearly well-built sets here. All right, these sets aren't just like mock-ups. These are, just look at the picture. This is not something that they would do in the early planning stages. This is very late game stuff here. It's in an order catalog. Trust me, this is not just something they're considering. This is something that they are rolling ahead with. Now, again, maybe this isn't good enough for you. Maybe the pictures aren't enough. Well, that's okay, because we have some other things to discuss here that might change your mind. Second, we have the Bionicle is not returning topic. Now, if you are a frequent visitor to the LEGO message boards, which I am, never posted on there, but it is so much fun to read there. There's some great conversations going on the LEGO message boards. If you've been on there at any time, though, you'll know that there's a sticky thread. And the sticky thread was created, I believe, in 2012. There were some rumors going around. Let me see if I can find it. Here it goes. Yes, white alligator. Which, by the way, if you've never seen a white alligator, Google image that thing. It is the freakiest sucker you will ever see in your life. I would not want to see. I would rather see like a dozen alligators coming at me in a dark pond than come across a white alligator in an alleyway. It is just disturbing. Anyway, he posted on here, "Hello, everyone." I reckon this is how he would talk. Or she. It might be a girl. Now that I'm actually looking at the minifigure that the person is using, I can't really tell. We're just going to go with this voice, though. "Hello, everyone. Lately, there have been quite a few rumors in the Bionicle forum about the theme being brought back. Currently, there's absolutely no plan to re-release Bionicle. It has been permanently retired." So this was released in 2012, just for reference there. Let's keep reading. "Deciding to retire Bionicle was a very tough decision for everyone here at the LEGO company. After a lot of time and consideration, the decision to retire the theme was made. When we decided to retire Bionicle, we decided that it would be a permanent decision. As a result, we do not foresee ever relaunching the theme. Of course, you never know what might happen in the future. But for now, there are absolutely no plans to re-release Bionicle. We know that this is disappointing for many of you to hear. We just want to be clear so that no one gets their hopes up." Now, that was released in 2012, and it has been stickied or pinned to the very top of the Bionicle forum area for a very long time. Ever since then, actually up until a couple of weeks ago, where it was unsticky. Now, it hasn't been deleted. It's still on there. If you search for it, you'll find it buried down to the bottom, like the bottom of the Bionicle section. But the important thing here is that it is no longer sticky. LEGO felt the need to say, you know what? We're not actually going to keep that advertised up at the top anymore. Let's just get rid of it. Now, someone did ask the person, hey, why'd you remove this? And I wish, I don't seem to actually have that on my computer right now. But the reply was basically, oh, we're just cleaning up, right? So if they were just cleaning up, wait, what? Huh? No. So wait, let me get this straight, LEGO. Let me get this straight, White Alligator. Major leaked image, just like floating around the internet, lots of discussion, and you decide we need to clean this up now. Surely this would be a much more appropriate time to leave that pinned there, or better yet, like you did in 2012 when untrue rumors started to pop up. Why not come out now and say again, oh no, this is all just massive rumor and speculation, it's not happening. You see, they did that in 2012, but they're not doing it now. Why are they not doing it now? I'll talk about that here in a little bit more, but let's move on to reason 3, which is the LEGO website leak. Now this one was the best, okay? I was actually sitting at work. My boss had wandered off to do something. I don't really remember the circumstances, but I decided to look up Bionicle on my iPhone and on the LEGO website. So I went to the LEGO website, typed in Bionicle. Get this, and this actually comes courtesy of Spectral Rain commented this for me. So, I mean, I saw it myself. I looked up Bionicle and I saw this. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a screenshot because I was on my phone. LEGO quickly patched it. But if you searched for, I guess there was about a full 1-day period where if you looked up Bionicle on the LEGO website, you got a page that said, coming soon. The items you're searching for have not yet launched. They are coming soon, so keep checking back for more information. You can also sign up for our emails to stay up to date on the latest sets. Now, it was like that for about a day. You could just search Bionicle. Now, before this, searching for Bionicle redirected you to Hero Factory because it's what LEGO was trying to shove down our throats. Like, no, you want Hero Factory. Hero Factory's the best. And it's like, no, I don't want that. But for about a day there, if you looked up for Bionicle, it went to this coming soon page. Then LEGO very, very quickly patched that to where it now takes you, at first, it was taking you to all kinds of places. Some people were like, okay, it's taking you back to Hero Factory. Others were like, I just ended up on the main page. What's going on here? It was kind of a sloppy fix. But what I got from this was, this is common. Whenever LEGO is preparing a new theme to be released, they go ahead and prep the website for it. And whoever did the prepping did not expect Bionicle to be searched on the LEGO website. And of course it was. I actually hopped over to BZ Power. I was like, I'm going to make this revelation. I'm going to be famous. And everyone else had already beaten me to it. Well, that happened. That was a thing. We were all, the hype train, like, kicked it into the 12th gear. We were rocking down the tracks. And then I guess someone at LEGO started freaking out and reverted it back to what it was. Now, there's a lot of speculation on how this could have happened. And a lot of the reasons were very... oh, how do I put this? Uneducated, right? So there was some people who were like, well, maybe it was just a technical glitch. And I'm like, look, we already have leaked images. And then on top of that, we have, you know, Bionicle, the LEGO message board removing the sticky. And you would tell me that just to add a coincidence, one day Bionicle stops redirecting to Hero Factory and redirects to a coming soon page? I've had some other people I saw had said, well, look, maybe it was just some rogue LEGO agent trolling us. No one is going to risk their job for a troll, unless they're getting fired anyway. I highly doubt that's happening, though. Someone else was like, well, maybe someone just heard the rumor that Bionicle was coming back and decided to change the website. That's not how it works in a major corporation. You don't just, if you're a web designer or website maintainer, whatever the proper term is. I don't know. I've never been a website designer. But I can imagine that if this is what you do for a living, you don't just sit around and hear rumors like, oh, Bionicle might be returning. I'm going to go ahead and update the website by myself. No. That's something that has to come from upstairs. You have to be basically told, hey, code this in, or, you know, whatever they do. I've never been a website designer. That's not just a decision you make. So that's definitely out of the question. And again, in light of everything else that's come out, it just seems so highly unlikely that that would just be a random thing. That's ridiculous. Now, on top of that, reason number 4 here, LEGO has reclaimed Bionicle.com, and I believe BionicleStory.com as well. Now, they're not individual websites. You can't go to Bionicle.com. But up until about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, if you went to bionicle.com, you got nothing because it was taken down. Lego was no longer doing anything with it. Now, if you go to bionicle.com, it redirects you to the Lego website itself. That means that Lego has now repurchased bionicle.com. Why? Right? So someone had said, well, maybe they're just protecting their copyright. Maybe... and that would make sense, you know? Mustang, Ford, well, not just now, I think it was like 6 months ago, took out a trademark on Mach 1. Are they releasing Mach 1 this year? No, they just want to protect the trademark in case sometime in the future they do decide to release one. Maybe that's what they're doing here. Maybe they just, well, yeah, okay, maybe Lego just decided, let's protect the trademark. Let's get the website back. However, in light of all the other things I just mentioned, doesn't it seem a little weird that right now Lego would be trying to protect their trademark? Doesn't it make more sense that they would be preparing a new Bionicle.com for a new generation of Bionicle fans who want to look up Bionicle things on the .coms? .com? Maybe? I'm thinking so. I'm thinking in light of everything, that makes the most sense right now. So we had that, and then we've had Lego's absolute silence. This is probably the most telling out of all the other things I've talked about here. In the past, Lego has not hesitated to tell us that there are no plans for Bionicle. All right, like I said in that 2012 deal, they came right out and said, no, look, we don't want to get your hopes up. We're not doing anything with Bionicle, okay? They haven't done that yet. If they weren't doing anything with Bionicle, they could come out and honestly tell the fan base at large, nothing's happening. Don't get your hopes up. You know, and just have it like that. But they haven't done that, which leads me to believe that this is a real thing, and they're having to cover it up, right? This isn't some evil plan to just, we got to keep it quiet. There are legitimate reasons for this. Number one being copycats. There are other companies out there who would love to jump on the idea and try to get like mock sets out ahead of Lego, and so Lego's got to protect, right? They've got sort of a gold spot that they need to announce this. They have to wait close enough to the release date, which, by the way, this all makes sense in light of the release date, right? If this is coming out in winter 2015, which would actually be December 2014 through, February 2015? If it's coming out during the December range, right now is when they would be finalizing everything. Right now is when they'd be getting those order catalogs out. So this all lines up perfectly. They need to wait as close to that deadline as they can to give their copycats out there, their competition in the market, as little time to prepare like a counter release of something similar, or even just dead, right on knockoffs as they've done in the past. They need to wait as close to that time as possible because they need to get their sets on the shelves first before the copycats. They also need to have just enough time to build hype about it, right? You can't just come out one day and say, hey, look, we put Bionicle items on the shelves. Actually, you could. I would go out and buy them instantly. I would take a day off work. I would buy them all up. I would probably sell part of my kidney to do it. But yeah, I mean, they have to, there's a gold spot. They have to have enough time to build up excitement for the series without giving their adversaries on the market a chance to combat with something of their own. So they have to keep this covered up. They cannot say, yes, it's happening. Yes, these leaks are legitimate. At the same time, they can't say no, because that would be a lie. So they're basically just in a corner where they can't say anything except for what they've had Greg saying. Now, Greg Varsity, for those of you who don't know, there's an excellent little place on the LEGO message boards where you can ask Greg questions. And for the longest time, they've mostly been just Bionicle story questions. But lately, it's picked up with the hype train nonsense, asking him all sorts of 2015 questions. He basically has flat out said, look, I can't talk about it. I really wish I could, but I can't. And hold on, actually, do I still have that quote on my computer? Where is that? There's actually one really telling quote in there. Oh man, I wish I still had it. I gotta find this. Yeah, okay, I found it. All right, so basically, again, Greg cannot say yes, Greg cannot say no. He's just been kind of giving vague answers to everything. Like when you ask him, hey, about these leaked pictures, I cannot comment on any leaked content. That's not how Greg talks, I'm sure. But for the purpose of this, that's how he talks. And, hey, Greg, what about the website thing? Well, the website does crazy stuff all the time. And Tahu9 asked him a question. I don't really remember what the question was, but here was what Greg answered, right? This is, again, on the LEGO message board. You can go look this up yourself. Greg says, I'm going to take this opportunity to state that going forward, I'm simply going to ignore questions about 2015. You guys know by now that even for lines everybody knows for sure are coming back, I am not allowed to discuss anything related to future products, and for very good reasons. When and if there's news you guys need to know, LEGO Company will announce it. It won't be announced in this topic, and if folks want to debate the future Bionicle, there are other places on the boards they can do that. This isn't the place for it. Okay? Thanks. Alright, so, first paragraph, second sentence, you guys know by now that even for lines everybody knows for sure are coming back.
Even for lines everybody knows for sure are coming back.
That's as great a confirmation as you're going to get right now. Again, LEGO cannot say they're coming back because let's say you do have a copycat company and they're looking at these leaked images and they're like, we can mock this, it'll be easy. We'll get our items on the shelves, we'll undercut LEGO, we'll make a fortune, you know, as much money as you can make as an illegitimate company. They're not going to do it. They're not just going to go all out making these copy sets, because if it turns out this is just a false leak, they're going to lose a lot of money on it. And most of these copycat companies can't afford to lose a lot of money. They can only really bank on sure things. They're not going to go into production until they're sure LEGO has made an announcement and they're for sure going to be releasing these sets. So LEGO can't give that announcement right now. They have to wait, again, as close to that release date deadline as possible. This is as good as it gets right here. Basically, Greg is saying, you guys know by now that the line is coming back. But I can't say that. We can't say that. Now, that maybe I'm maybe I'm putting too much into that. Maybe I'm having trouble with speech because I haven't had dinner yet. Let me get a sip here of my drink. Yeah. 32 ounces of caffeine-free... Caffeine-free? Oh, no! That's the problem. I got root beer. There's no caffeine in root beer. Right, so that's as good as it's going to get right there. That's the best we're going to get from Greg. Thank you, Greg, for that, by the way. So all of these rumors, all of these things put together, they were enough to convince me wholeheartedly, and with every day, it just gets better. New stuff is leaked, new information is discovered. There's just too much coincidence, right? I think that's the big thing. There's just too much going on for me to just say, it's all just hubbub and coincidence. No, there's too much here for me to just look at it and say, all right, this has to be real. I would stake my career as a Bionicle podcast maker of one episode of one podcast that this is legitimate and that this is really going to happen. So let's just run through real quick those things. First off, we had the leaked images. We had the Bionicle not returning topic removed, the LEGO website leak where they redirected to a Bionicle page basically saying Bionicle is coming back. We had LEGO repurchase the Bionicle.com, so there's the first four. LEGO has not said anything about it, which that's the fifth, and it's the most telling. And then we've had Greg's comment, that is the sixth item. I just think there's too much coincidence. Now, there's one more thing I want to talk about here. And this is something that someone on BZ Power discovered. I don't remember who. I'm really sorry if you're listening to this. You can definitely comment down below and say it was you. This is interesting, though, okay? If you go to Amazon, Web of Shadows is set to release October 7th, 2014. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, wait a second. Hasn't that already come out? Yeah, it has, but they still have a pre-order for it. Now, I know this sort of thing happens a lot on Amazon. It just seems weird because it's been up there for a few days and it's still there. I don't know if this is like a re-release or why this is happening, or maybe I don't know. That probably doesn't mean anything. That actually, I was gonna say that in light of everything else that's happening, that can't be a coincidence either, but Amazon's just crazy. That could be a coincidence. I don't know why they would re-release Web of Shadows. I would much rather see a re-release of Mask of Light, which is my favorite movie. Although I did like Web of Shadows better than The Legend Reborn. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like The Legend Reborn. It wasn't a good movie. From any angle. I know a lot of people are gonna be upset because they really liked that movie. It was horrible. Alright, Bionicle deserved to get canceled after that. Web of Shadows wasn't half bad. I actually kind of liked it. Not as much as Mask of Light, though. Mask of Light was amazing. And that's just weird. Why is it set up as a... We'll get back to that. Maybe we'll talk about that more in the next episode. I'll come back and maybe I'll have an update for you on why we have a pre-order for Web of Shadows. Just look up Web of Shadows. Bionicle 3. If you look up Web of Shadows, you'll get a Spider-Man game. So look up Bionicle 3 Web of Shadows on Amazon. See for yourself if it's still like that. That's so strange, though. I don't... Maybe that's probably just a... I don't even... I'm not even going to get into that. So, there we go, guys. We're about 30 minutes in. I have talked quite a bit. I've given you sort of my 6 reasons why I believe Bionicle is coming back. I've given you a lot more detail than I did in the last video I made about Bionicle's return. And we've had a lot of fun. We've had a lot of great discussion. I think this is a good start. I've never made a podcast. I always have wanted to, though. I really have a passion for creating content. I really enjoy it. And I've always wanted to challenge myself and do different things and new things. And I think this is a fun thing to try. We'll see how well it goes. I'll see if I can get it on iTunes. And it'll definitely be on YouTube, where you're probably watching it, most likely. Unless it is on iTunes and you found it. Congratulations. Welcome to the podcast. And hopefully it'll get more structured and it'll get better as we go along. If you guys want to get in touch with me, though, you can go to, if you're on YouTube, links in the description to my Twitter, TweetingCub, at TweetingCub, TweetingCub. And I know that's a bit hefty, but I'm there. I'm going to try to get an email address. I'm going to go for BIONICOMM@gmail.com. Hopefully that is not taken. And BIONICOMM@gmail.com. Links in the description if it works. Check down there, actually, if you're on YouTube. And make sure that that is what's listed there. If you're not on YouTube and you want to find out what is this YouTube he talks about, youtube.com/CubsPlace, CubsPlace. You can go check that out. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. I've got to figure this whole podcast thing out. I've got to get like intros and outros and music and stuff. It'll be fun. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.